Let's do it. Let's do it. So, I'm gonna talk about my, I guess, somewhat respect for law enforcement, budding respect for law enforcement. It started when I was on the road. It's like my last year. I think I was on the road. I was listening to Infowars, big time, big time, big time. Talked about it before that when you're like I was, you have to watch them because they operate off of rage, getting you angry, getting you riled up. And that's how I was. I needed that stuff to get me riled up and to get me angry. You understand? To get me up there. And now that I'm, a socialist, I don't need anything. Like I know how to feel. I'll watch David Pakman, people like that, just to tell me what's going on. But they don't. There isn't this. Yeah, man. We need a I think Alex Jones. Yeah, gotta get him. Those communists. The faggots. Nobody does that. Like young terrorists, I tell a joke or something, but I watch Democracy Now! Every day. Just about. I watch them every day. But I might go a couple of days without watching David Pakman or anybody. That's fine. I look at them almost like people who just have more time, probably have more. Their tentacles have longer reach than mine to gather information. They have time to do that. Well, I don't. I've got to work and pay bills and keep this place up. So when you had the bomber in New York City, the guy put bombs in the mail, sent to Maxine Waters, Obama, the former head of the CIA, Robert De Niro, somebody else. Oh, the Clintons, Hillary Clinton. He put bombs in the mail, and Robert De Niro, the police ran up there, and they rolled out the bomb squad. They rolled out everybody. And I remember listening to Infowars, and Alex Jones was like blowing it off. I think this was before Charlottesville, but I know they were around the same time. And you had that was the three things. That was three. It was Charlottesville, bombs in the mail. Oh, yeah, it was three things. It was Charlottesville, bombs in the mail, and it was that black Starbucks stuff. It was those three things that really turned me away from conservatism and away from a lot of my conservative friends, I guess you could say, people that I was friends with. When I watched the NYPD response, I remember just thinking that they're doing what they gotta do to protect all of us. They didn't know. How often do you deal with bombs? How often do anybody deal with bombs in the mail? Kaczynski was the last one, wasn't he? That doesn't happen often. It happens very rarely. So they've got to do that. And then, like I said on another video, how many folks live in New York City square block? We're not talking about Austin. We're not talking about Charlotte. We're talking about New York City. How many? You know what I'm saying? They did everything they could to protect the people, and I respect them. But that's got to be terrifying. They don't want to die. Or get their fingers blown, hands blown off. They don't want to die. So when info was, that's why when they talk about how the progressives, they're so touchy feely. No, man, I'm a socialist, and I respect law enforcement for what they did. I respect NYPD for what they did, and I respect the fact that they did it the right way. And Alex Jones was like, this was not that serious, and it was enough gunpowder, black powder to blow off a finger. And I'm sitting up here like, who wants a finger blown off? That's when I started to realize, what? I don't want to get a finger blown off. I like having all my fingers and toes and a pin. I don't want my nose getting blown. I don't want to get no injuries like that. And I'm sure them police probably feel the same way. I don't want nothing like that. And then you get older, you get complicated. No, hell no, man. Hell no. That's what I realized. Alex Jones is an ideologue, and as such, you got to ride for the brand, which means when terrorism happens, instead of you saying no, it's wrong for anybody to do this, you've got to be like, well, but you know, so Alex Jones, you got to blow it off, and that's when I started to wake up. All of these mass shootings we've had, as well as the one I just mentioned, the bombing, have just made me realize, and this is irregardless of how any policeman thinks, whether it be racist shit on Cedar Post or NYPD Confidential, fuck all that stuff. All these cops out here, if something happens, they're gonna be on the front lines of whatever comes. Now their opinion and their beliefs, and that's a separate conversation. I'm not talking about that. But as far as mass destruction, unforeseen circumstances such as, or unusual circumstances, mass shooters, bombings, things like that, police officers would be the first one there. So they are the front line. Because we're in a war. You ain't no worry about it. We're in a war. Does that mean I respect all police? Fuck no. Does it mean all police are great people? Fuck no. Hell no. But whether they like it or not, while we're running out, they will be running in, or they will be arriving. So if something happens, and that's what gets me about these mass shooters and these terrorists, is they don't realize that. Like, it's like I said it before, when you kill a cop, you know, like a lot of people then go apply for the police academy, right? When you do these things, or you go shoot up a police station, or you go and you shoot at police and stuff like that, that just makes my opinion make more sense that we are at war. You know what I mean? When you do like these red flag laws, great example. This stuff just proves my point. It's not good. I'm not happy. It proves my point. Men having 8, 9, and 10 rifles. Coast Guard guy with all the guns in the house. Proves my point. Proves my point. Not happy to say that. So I have a budding respect when we had a shooting here in Charlotte at UNCC, right down the road from here. I don't think UNCC is 5 miles from my apartment where I live at. And they I heard I was in here when it happened that afternoon, and the lady said, supportive shooter, I'm putting all you on the numbers. And they were running up here, and I remember, I heard the first, and then after that, it was like a lot of sirens. And it came to me, I think you had police coming from downtown. Like, you had police not just out of area, I mean, like, on the other side of the city coming. And we're going to have more mass shootings. So those officers that responded, it's irregardless of who they voted for. I don't care. It's irregardless of what their political standing is. If that had been bad, if that had been in North Hollywood or something where some guys walking around with AK-47 and an officer got hurt or killed, in my mind, that is the fight against terror. You want to talk about terror? That's not dropping a bomb on some guy 1,000,000 miles away who's got nothing to do with me. No, that's not terrorism. That's fighting for natural resources for these corporations. Nothing to do with me. Got off subject. My thing is just remain the same. Police officers are on the front lines fighting terrorism. Whether they agree, whether they don't, it's irregardless. Because, see, I don't think a lot of... This is the guy I told you about an Eagle. He said he knows Trump's a liar, but he doesn't follow politics. And another guy the same way. A lot of these Trump supporters, I admit, they're not really in depth with it. They're not reading books about Trump, okay? They're not following up what Trump does every day. They don't care. And I don't know if that's from the beginning or if that's just because he's done so much stupid shit. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's what I've seen. So I don't think a lot of these cops are secret, undercover Klansmen. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second. Not at all, not for 1 second. I don't believe that. But what I do believe is you may have a few of them. You may have some out here that are racist or have hate in their heart or just whatever has happened to them. Okay? I get that. but you understand if something happens. Kind of a gang war breaks out, and let's say you had blood police officers, and a gang war breaks out in the street right now. That first officer that shows up, it doesn't matter if he's a blood, or crip, or unaffiliated. It's irrelevant because I'm pretty sure if he shows up and the bullets are flying, he's gonna go tactical. He's gonna get his rifle. He's gonna be calling, hey, hold the channel. You know what I mean? He's not gonna be thinking, oh man, let me pull my blood bandana yet, man. Hey man, my blood bandana, man. Hey look. He's not. I'm pretty sure the first cop said, hey man, hey, I'm pretty sure he's not gonna do that. No, he doesn't even think about his own safety and safety of everybody else here. So, to end this, I have a respect for law enforcement. I keep needing to do my application again, but I have respect for them because I recognize that they are on the front lines. And whether we want to believe it or agree with it or not, they're in danger just like the rest of us. I find it interesting to see that. Like, with these white supremacists, there's a few things that have changed from them and the original Klan. For one thing is, they don't have the shaving their head, and they don't have the combat boots. You see that? Not as much. Now they got their hair like flaked over or whatever, and I call it the Blake haircut. And they wear Docksiders and khakis. It's still hate. Like white men, they still hate. But they've changed. Another thing is, there's definitely a white supremacist thing out here that hates cops too. And somebody brought to my attention. I was like, wait a minute. Because historically, with the Klan and the mob and all that, they didn't fight cops. I mean, like, if you caught them, you caught them. They just went to jail. You didn't have this, what's that stuff? They think that, like, I'm a sovereign citizen. You didn't have that back in the day. You didn't. You might have had some white folks that felt like that, but I didn't see it like it is now. Where you have white supremacists to say, fuck the police. There was a guy, he was talking about how, it was in Missouri, actually. And state troopers were at this protest, and the Klansmen was spitting on them. That wasn't going on back in the day. I can tell you that was not going on back in the day. It wasn't. For one thing, you had a lot of Klan and the police. And I think with the demographic shifting, with the cameras, especially in these cities, I don't think you can get away with that stuff like you used to. You can for a little while, but eventually it comes out. That when they talk about these guys getting fired for this stuff, and they're like, oh, well, he probably been doing that for a while. That's how I don't look at it like that. Oh, this is so minor. No, you don't get caught the first time you do something or say something, especially not racism or violence. That's not your first, or your second, or your third time, maybe not even your fifth time doing that. That's a pattern and practice, and guess what? You just got comfortable. But like I said, I've got a budding respect for law enforcement. Don't expect to see me with any blue line flags or Blue Lives Matter on my face, but don't expect to see that. But I may say a prayer for them. I may say a prayer for you guys out there one day. Maybe.